Hey guys, do you want 3 tips for less stress and more success? And do you want that on your ToK essay? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to ToK Today. I'm Daniel and I'm here to help you. Okay, so what we're going to do today, I'm going to give you 3 tips for more success on the ToK essay, to make it less stressful and to make your life happier. Let's go. So tip number 1 is pretty straightforward, and it's to start early. Yeah, the essay titles come out in September if you're in a May session school, and they come out in March if you're in a November session school. And I'm pretty sure that your teachers will be starting the essay process in September for May session schools and in March for November session schools. So as soon as the teacher starts the process, then you need to start working on the essay. I've put information on my site about what you should be doing in September or March, depending on your school. What sort of things you should be doing with your teacher at that point. And if you want more information, go to toktoday.com, or you can even buy the ebook, which has in detail the steps that you can be going through to build those foundations for success later on. So starting early, it seems really obvious. Give yourself the maximum amount of time to write that essay. Give yourself as much time as possible to think about the ideas and to research the ideas and to plan a really good essay and then to write a really good essay. But I'm amazed how often students leave it to the last minute. Well, I'm not really amazed. I mean, we're all human. I leave things to the last minute as well. But this is definitely a process where doing a little bit each day or each week quickly builds into a lot, and it quickly builds into a great essay. So it's one of these things which is really, it really makes sense to get going early on it. The essay is only 1,600 words. It's something that a DP2 student can write so quickly. You know, you can probably get that done in 8 hours, probably 2 days, 2 afternoons, and you can write that essay. But it requires a lot more conceptual development before you start to write. It requires a lot of research before you start to write. So don't think, all right, well, the draft deadline is in December, so I'll just start it 2 days before the draft deadline, because then you've missed out on all that thinking time, all of that developing time. It's that old adage that slow-baked things taste better than fast-baked things. Think about your granny's apple pie. It's so much better than the one that McDonald's make in 2 minutes, yeah? Take your time, mature this essay, spend time with it, spend time thinking about it. Okay, so my next tip is to read the exemplars which are available. The exemplars are models that other people have already written. They're models that come from International Baccalaureate or models that your teachers have. Model essays, the way it should be done. You see, you're not the first person to tread this path, okay? There's already a map there for you. There are already people who can show you the way through this process, all right? And it's much easier to write this essay once you've read how other people have written it. A note of caution here: don't just copy what other people have done. Don't copy for a number of reasons. First of all, it's not good for you and it's not good for your learning. Yeah, you only get one chance at doing this, so make it a useful and valuable chance. Put quality into it. Yeah, but secondly, don't just copy what other people have done, because what they've done might not be as good as what you can do, especially if you look at what they've done and then you build on it, you add value to it, you improve it, and that's how knowledge grows. We just keep adding value to what other people have done before us. Isaac Newton said that we stand on the shoulders of giants, and you are standing on the shoulders of all of the people who've already done this ToK essay before you, and you can improve on what they have done. thirdly, don't just copy what other people have done purely for sort of utilitarian reasons, that plagiarism will get caught. Not just Turnitin.com, but IB have much more powerful plagiarism detection tools than Turnitin. So that's just the sort of utilitarian, extrinsic reason for not copying. Do read the exemplars and think, what are the basics there that this student, that this other person has done, and what can I improve on that? How can I make it better? Read a whole variety of the exemplars. Your teacher can give you lots of these. I think there are 10 of them on the IB website. So read the whole variety. You'll see that there's no single way to write this essay. There's no one correct solution. There are numbers of different ways that you can write and you can get through this essay. There are limitless ways. There's no one prescribed way, is what I'm saying, if I get my words right. And the more of them that you read, the more ideas you'll have, and the easier it will be. So the less stress and the more success, which is what we're all about. Yeah, it always amazes me the number of students. I give them the exemplars and then sometimes they don't read them. And I come to a supervision lesson and say, have you read the exemplars? And they sort of look blankly at me. It doesn't take long to read 1,600 words, maybe about 10 minutes max. So take that time, because those 10 minutes spent reading the exemplar could save you hours and hours of writing later on, okay? So it's an investment which will pay dividends later on. So the third and final tip is to spend time thinking and planning. And it links with that first tip, which is start early. Starting early gives you the time for thinking and planning. These questions are very esoteric questions. They're quite abstract, they're quite removed. They're not meant to be answered as a sort of a yes-no answer. They're meant to be an exploration. And to be able to do that exploration, you've got to spend time thinking and planning. And I really do mean thinking here. Deep, deep thinking, time spent quietly on your own, just focusing on that question. However you do thinking best, maybe doodling, maybe doing a scattergram or a brainstorm, yeah? Maybe just putting together a glossary of words that leads to other words. So, you take a word and you research that word on the internet or using a book, and then that leads you to some other words or some other ideas, and then you build from those ideas some more ideas, and you sort of get this tree which grows out of ideas. And this will help your understanding of that essay, because you've got to get a deep understanding of it. And to get that deep understanding, you need to spend time thinking and planning. In my ebook, there are a number of different stages I outline on thinking and planning that you can do, which you're welcome to buy if you want to. The key is that you can't just sit down without having done any thinking and planning and write this essay. You just can't do that. It's like running a marathon, okay? You can't just you can't just get up in the morning and run a marathon. You have to do training beforehand, lots of training, and writing this essay is the same thing. Or, imagine performing a play on stage at school. If you haven't learned the script beforehand, then you're not going to be able to perform it very well, unless it's an ad-lib, like this video. Really spend time thinking. And on top of thinking is researching, all right? Now, researching doesn't mean plagiarizing, as I said before, but researching means, what have other people written about this? What have other people said about these concepts? One of the ToK concepts is truth, for example. Now, lots of people have written about the nature of truth. And philosophers have quite different views on what truth actually is. Some students think that truth is a fact, or truth is an external thing. Most philosophers will say, well, it's an internal thing. But some philosophers say that there are relative truths, for example, and so on and so on. Now, if the word truth was in your essay title, you would do well to think about the different sort of philosophical positions on truth. You don't have to be quoting Socrates and Aristotle or anything like that, but to have some of those different ideas about what that concept means inside your essay, different perspectives, will push you up into those higher mark bands. And I know that that's often a consideration for most people. So one of the things you might be thinking is about, well, how much time thinking and planning should I spend compared to writing? And as a rough sort of guide of thumb, I would say spend 80% of your time planning, thinking, working things out, and spend about 20% of your time writing, okay? If you spend the time thinking and planning, the writing will be much faster. It's like that investment at the beginning makes the next bit much, much easier. If you start in September and you spend time thinking and planning, then and you do a little bit each week and it builds up maybe an hour or two each week. By the time you get to the middle of October, you're going to have such a good understanding of that essay. You're going to have such deep knowledge of that essay that you can write that essay very, very quickly to a really high standard. And you're going to have this wealth of evidence that you can draw upon to make that essay really, really deep and concise. Because 1,600 words is not enough. 1,600 words is really, really short. And one of the problems that we often have is trying to cram all of these ideas into 1,600 words. The way to be concise and to have depth is to have really good knowledge. Okay, so spend time thinking and planning. Okay guys, so there we have it. 3 simple tips for less stress and more success on your ToK essay. Tip number 1 is to start early. Tip number 2, read the exemplars. And tip number 3 is to do a lot of research and thinking and planning beforehand. If you do these 3 things, then you will be able to write this essay in a breeze. It won't be a problem, and you'll be sat there after the submission date, the draft submission date. Remember, the draft is your final. You'll be sat there on the draft submission date saying, thank you very much, ToK today, and most importantly, thank you very much, my ToK teacher, because your ToK teacher is your best resource. Talk to them and communicate with them frequently. I just gave you another tip. You see, you came here for 3 tips and you got 4 tips. That's value for money at ToK today. We're going to leave this video off here. If you need more help with other ToK things, then have a search around on my site or go to the website toktoday.com, and at the website you're going to find lots of useful information and lots more information coming up in the coming months. Enjoy your ToK learning, stay ToKtastic, peace, goodbye.